swirling.
Around you. Yeah. Where was this at?
This was at my old house.
Yeah. All right. Need to get in there.
Well, it shows that there's so much other activity
Yeah.
that this swirling thing could very well be a pathway, or it could be something moving. I'm not sure. I just know that this picture has probably 13 different things in it that I've outlined for you to look at.
Yeah. Yeah.
All those things were all in one picture. So
Now,
that's
was that taken by a normal camera?
it was taken by a cheapy camera
Yeah.
by my girlfriend, spur of the moment. She said my name. I turned my head back. That was it. Boom.
Was this with also a negative?
With a native.
A negative.
Oh, a negative?
Yeah, a native negative.
No.
Did this
Well,
one?
you never know.
I mean, they had. I mean, did it come with a negative? Because past then.
uh, no, it was one of those little instant cameras,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Those
the
Kodak
little
Insta ones that
disposable
comes
one.
around. Yeah, too expensive to run. I remember.
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah, I ran one of those, and then I ran out of money as a kid, and I threw the
Yeah,
camera away because there was nothing I could do.
yeah.
Okay, I get it. So that's what happened. I will post that. I can't do it right this moment with all the activity on my screen. All right, let's get real now a little bit with the portals or vortexes that we talk about. Do, we've seen them. You've seen them on our page. Um, they seem. I've never seen an entity go in there. It looks like the one behind your back. It looks like the entity is coming out. Why do I say that? Is that the bottom part of that vortex or pipe, looking like a pipe, if you will, or wormhole, it's kind of just drifts off into something. But the top part looks like it's open and ready to let something out. That's just a guess. It would be nice, but I'm finding that these things are too hard to catch on video. They're too fast. I only learned that from the theater, the Elegant Theater. So, anywho, with that in mind, do you, with your spirituality, I have not been able to ask the right questions. I ask a lot of right questions that most teams will never touch on to find out the science, their existence, why they're there, how they see us, what do they live like? You know, what is a normal day? We found out there is no normal day. There is no time. Throw it out. But when they go through where they're at and then come into our existence, have they told you they use these vortexes, Dad?
Pretty much, because I've asked them how they got there so fast. And they've told me they got there fast because they have a special path. So I'm assuming that they're talking about some sort of special path. I haven't actually sat down and gone into it with one to find out exactly what that special path means. And to me, it's just an energy type path that they can travel that has no space-time they travel through. Now, some that have already passed see us very clearly, and they are in perfect condition. I haven't seen one that has crossed that is in any other condition other than like they were around 30 years old and perfectly healthy and have all their parts and nothing is wrong. That's the way they show themselves to me. And they are happy. They're doing a jig, they're swinging around, they're dancing, they're showing me all kinds of things. Now, the ones that haven't crossed, the ghosts that are still here,
Now,
there was an...
let me ask a quick question. I'm sorry to
Uh-huh.
interrupt, but does we're getting that feedback again.
Okay.
So, are you saying that some ghosts who have crossed can they come back? And if so, how do they act?
The spirits that have crossed because I consider the ones that have crossed as spirits. The ghosts are the ones who have not.
Okay.
Those are the ones that are still here.
Well, let's define both then so I can understand spiritually. Let's figure out a way to explain it. When something goes to the light, it crosses over or go to the light, right? That's what you mean?
Yes, goes
Okay.
over to wherever they go.
Wherever they go, and in this case, it's the light, which I believe is the light of God, but they don't actually touch it as we perfect ourselves along a line. And then they come back for some reason. They use these vortexes.
Yeah.
Okay, to get back dimensionally in our dimension where there is time, where there has these things that they used to have, but they have a whole new set of physics over there, and then they can come back here and manipulate the physics here. Do they appear as a person, or do they appear as an orb? What do they, or they don't appear and just talk to you?
I don't usually see them. They show me pictures in my head of what they look like. I will hear them sometimes, and not clearly as EVPs. Most of them, even the ones we hear are not really great. They might be distorted, or I might pick up a few words. Sometimes they show me symbols that mean certain things. I know certain spirits by the way that they come in to talk to me. The ones that I talk to frequently are ones that have a certain sign that they will give me, and I know it's them. So there's all different ways that they come through.
So the spirit that has crossed and then come back through a vortex, per se, probably there's not a good chance of catching them on equipment or getting any really good responses from them. They more like are angelic, don't talk, and just send messages to people who have the gift, like you.
Well, everybody has the gift to some extent. You might get a cold chill, so who knows? Some people think they hear their name being called and nobody's there. Some people all of a sudden get chilled in a warm room, and most people will dismiss it as nothing, whereas if they started looking into it or paying more attention, they might pick up on more things. So you can develop that. I've paid really close attention to when I felt this or where I felt this, and the pictures that I do see, and I do see outlines against people, like I did with you, kind of a heat mirage type energy thing going on behind people. I see that a lot in stores. You see a bunch of people walking around, and almost everybody has somebody following, or around. And some want to talk, and some are just passing through, and some don't want to talk. Some don't want to communicate. They just are taking a path to someplace else.
Where, let's just, I can hear myself again for a reason.
I've got mine way down, hon, so
all
it's
right.
got to...
We'll just figure it out. When I play this kid again,
I'm not sure what. See.
I picked him up. I'm an EVP. Are you suggesting then he never went over to the light?
No, he very well could have. The reason that he's there is because he's curious or was around the area when you started asking the questions.
Okay.
So he's communicating with you because he knows somebody's trying to communicate, with them. It's not often that they kind of look for people that can do that or look for people that are trying to talk to them so that they can communicate.
Yeah, I usually use a lot of compassion, and this happened to be a schoolroom from first to six-year-old, or first to sixth grade. And I knew there were young kids in there, so obviously I'd use compassion. And when I was trying to find out these questions, I sat down later and I got more from this boy. But he sounds timid in such a way. But most EVPs come across as a whisper. He had to have a lot of energy to pull this full vocal cord sound, didn't he?
Well, he was also a child, and children have more energy than, older adults. That's not too much different. They can gather energy easier than we can.
I didn't know that. Why?
I think it's something about their soul self, their, kind of their energy. A baby has more energy than an older person. Kids, they lose it as they get older. You know how some kids can hear it when they're little or have a pretend friend, and then they go away as they get older. So they're really super strong the younger that they are. So if he passed at a time when he was pretty strong, then he may still carry that same amount of energy.
What happens in the spirit world? I've asked the question, and sometimes if they don't want to give me an answer, either I won't understand it, which is probably, they know that. They'll give me a fuck you or laugh or something. They won't answer it. But I've asked, do you age during this process where you're at? I cannot get an answer. I've been told, get out. I've had a great SB7 going for 20 minutes, and then I'll ask that question. It pisses them off. What's your thought on that? Will this child, will they grow as they go back to the light, back and forth, or do they? I know they do regenerate, and souls do regenerate into.
I'm really kind of thinking, see, this is a hard one because almost every child that's passed before the age of 5 has shown me the age of 5. And a child who passed a long time ago who was under 5 will show me the age of 5 and then show me later that they're 30. So, and I've seen children hanging onto the hands of loved ones, their shadows, and they're approximately 8, 9, 10, 11, whatever, at different ages. So I think it depends on maybe whether this was their first time back, how young their soul self is, if it's the first time they've lived as a child, if they need to experience still being a child and being loved there before they grow up. I'm not exactly sure. I just know the pictures that I've seen. And I don't know if they're showing me the pictures of what age they were and, what age they would be at now to tell their loved ones, well, hey, you know what, I died at 5, but now I'm 30, or now I'm 18 and I look like this. That's really hard to tell because they'll know when they pass. They'll tell you a month or a day or how long it's been, but they'll show you a couple of different ages. So it's hard to tell whether they're actually that age now or what. Frequently, when I ask anybody about a loved one who's passed, I'll have to ask them, was this so many months ago or so many years ago? Because I'm seeing 2 different pictures. I'm seeing one of them older and then one of them younger. Like one I did on an 8-month-old who was showing me at 5 years old. He also showed me an 8-month-old. So, and I got the 8 and the 5, that he had passed 8 months old, but he was showing me at 5 years old. And that had happened a couple years before. So what... I don't know if they all show me at 5 years old if they passed before then. Typically, that's what I think.
They may do a 5 and a 30, and maybe you can ask that question the next time you're making the connection.